Hello, everyone. This is Monsaf Afkar, and thank you so much for joining us in this new call of your divine uniqueness. So, as always, we're happy to have you here, whether on the live call or later on the replay. And yeah, also very excited that Erica VanEaton is back on the show. I think already many of you already know her because she's been joining us several times over the past few years. And also, how to say, she's someone I really trust, and also I seek advice, guidance, and healing when I really need it. And I received really amazing support from her over the past years, whether related to personal healing, something related to my personal life, or also offering my own services. And yeah, it's how to say, like from the first time I connected with her, I really felt how powerful her message and the energy that she holds and share with her clients. And yeah, I always feel happy to have her with us here on the show. And for those of you who are new to her, she is a uh, quantum alchemist, intuitive and life coach, channel, and international speaker. And today's call will be about body regeneration and knowing the body as love. So she will be speaking about that and how to say, also how the body can be affected with our beliefs, with the distortions that we created or we maybe inherited, or we how to say we created in this lifetime, and how they can affect our body, and also how can we really tap into the wisdom that it holds, that is really like the wisdom of our highest self. And I feel this is a very important subject because like it's been years that the energy is accelerating and we are remembering more and more of who we are, but also we are remembering that the body is a very essential part of this the ascension experience, because sometimes we tend to be more in the spiritual realms and we forgot about the physical world, and the body is the vessel that really takes us through that journey, and it's a very important part of it. So yeah, so I think that will be a very powerful call. So she will guide us also on a group light language process. So that will be a very powerful one. Stay tuned for that. And also we will have a Q&A where you can ask Erica your questions. So for that, if you are on Zoom, you can raise your hand by pressing reactions, then raise hand. If you are on the phone, you can raise your hand by pressing *9. And also you can type your questions on the chat boxes on Zoom and also on YouTube. And yeah, so with that, Erica, welcome back to the show. Happy to have you with us.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. And that was a really kind intro. Thank you. Yours has always been one of my favorite shows to be on because of the intention and the energy that you hold for the collective audience that you have. And I believe that they can all feel that too. So thank you all for being present with us today to play and to come back home to the body. And that's really what I think we need to dive into, because the body is something that's easily forgotten. And I think when we think about the ascension process, we think that we are going to magically leave the body, and the ascension is meant to happen with the body. The body is part of your soul. So the soul designed the spirit designs the body, and it's all one. They're just all living in different dimensional planes of existence, so that we can be multidimensional and have access to multidimensional information, consciousness, and live in a particle form state so that we can experience a physical reality. So when we talk about ascension, we need to include the body consciousness in the body itself and understand that this is love. This is God's essence in particle form that we are wrapped in every day. And if we want to go back to the original matter that the body is created from, we could even call this our galactic spacesuit, because all matter was connected at one point in time. And so the information of the cosmos is within the matter of our body. So all wisdom is within our body. It's just been throughout the generations as we've allowed ourselves to be modified by the dysfunctional belief systems, and the chaos that we took on to be true that covered over the wisdom that our body holds. So when we come into a flow state, a state of alignment, there's the point in time when in the future when chakras won't even exist anymore, because it's going to be one sphere of light that we are operating from when we are in such a state of coherence. And that includes the body. The body will shift forms again and just come into a different dimensional plane of existence with us. So we're not leaving anything behind. We're understanding that we have to continue to change our perspective over and over and over again to know ourselves differently and more fully, accepting the shadows that we have, the light that we are, not trying to dismiss these beautiful aspects of ourselves, but what other perspectives do I need to incorporate into my knowingness so that these different timelines, these different perspectives all become actual wisdom that I'm uncovering within myself first. So that's where we're going to play today. And I think it should be a fun ride.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I love that you mentioned that it's a journey. We are always discovering or having a different perspective about ourselves. And because many times we feel like we just want to reach maybe a state of being or a goal, and then yeah, everything ends. Everything will be the same after that. But it's more like the fears that we have that let us choose that to settle on one way of being instead of continuous discovery and growth, which for me it brings a lot more fun to the journey, and especially with every time we have a new aha moment about who we are and what we can and how we can create. Yeah, so also so we are talking about body regeneration. So I would love if you can tell us what do you mean by that?
Yeah. Well, there's a million different angles we could take to get to the answer. So when I'm talking about body regeneration, I'm talking about uncovering the modified aspects of us that have, one, shortened our lifespan, two, caused dis-ease states, and three, kept us in our particle state locked in a third dimensional state of fear, confusion, or lack or shame. And like you were saying, none of these things are bad. When we have chosen something out of fear, we did learn from it. When we have chosen from lack or shame, well, we have learned from it. But it's like, okay, we've learned from it now. How do we uncover the wisdom and see the light on the other side so that we can expand into a different dimensional plane? So every time that we have played into, and I think this is pretty much known now, every time that we have played into a disharmonic array of energetics. So every thought, every feeling, every emotion is a stream of energy. And those particles of energy are either colliding against each other, causing chaos, or they're working for each other, giving you a harmonic state. So anytime that we have fallen into a bit of chaos, we call them bad vibrations, but actually usually from chaos arises a great deal of expansion. But anytime that we have come into this place of chaos and we have believed the chaos to actually be true, the chaos that is shame or lack or fear or insecurity, and we have taken on these false belief systems to be true and these senses of separation from source to be true for us, that has locked down our wisdom codes of light that are located within the particles in our body, within our DNA. So anytime that we have taken this outside information on to be true, it literally comes into your field. It hits your heart sends a signal to the brain. And if there's enough signals sent to the brain coming from this external source, that becomes part of your foundation, because it forms a subconscious belief and it's continually playing and radiating out throughout your energy matrix. So what we're doing through energy healing, and when I call regeneration, is it's coming back to our original divine blueprint that surrounds every cell, every organ, every tissue in your entire body. So when we form these subconscious belief systems, it actually alters our blueprints that surround every aspect of us. these blueprints are what give the directive on how to regenerate. It tells the cell how to regenerate. It tells the DNA, whether on the telomeres, whether they should lengthen or if they should shrink with aging. It's, it's all a belief system. So when we are talking about body regeneration, when we're talking about ascension, it has to come back to realize that there's nothing separate. Every shadow that I have and have worked through and assimilated and learned the wisdom from, if I choose the wisdom side of that, if I choose to see the light on the other side of that, that's going to expand me. And that's actually going to expand my blueprint into something greater than it was before. If I continue to believe, in the negative aspect of the shadow and stay stuck in that, that's going to continue to degrade the blueprint that is telling my body how to regenerate. So every moment, every day, we have a choice point of how we want to regenerate. Do we want to uncover our longevity codes? Do we want to uncover the galactic wisdom that is within each particle of energy that we are, but we don't have access to it if we continue to play in the negative shadow aspect of things? We have to come to that place of harmony. We don't live in a black and white world. We live in a very gray world. So it's every time we change our perspective about a life experience, that brings us back into a state of harmony. Because it's like playing connect the dots in your field. Every time you have a perspective shift and like to understand something more fully, another line in your field gets connected. When you do that, you're beginning to change your blueprint, expanding it out, and uncovering the wisdom that is within yourself. Now, the problem begins to stem to is we're spiritual. We are learning from spiritual teachers all the time. We're conscious, and we know that we can learn from other people. We know that we can learn from books and all these things. But when we continue to go outside of ourselves and try to attune to what someone else is doing or what someone else is teaching or preaching or whatever, we're not actually starting from an internal place first of changing our own perspective, of tapping into our own wisdom. And we're playing in the field of matter that is outside of ourselves and then trying to drag that information into our field. And it causes chaos and conflict because, again, we're running two different frequencies. We're running what we're running, and then we're trying to bring in this outside frequency in, and that doesn't work either. And that's where a lot of people get stuck when it comes to energy healing. So everything you have is within you already. How do we uncover that? We uncover it through self-consumption. And that's something I've been talking about for quite a while now, is only through consuming your own energy are you going to actually heal and begin to uncover your codes of light and wisdom. That means your psychic abilities. That means your healing abilities for self and others, your own abundance, your own prosperity, your own health. We can't do that if we're continually searching outside of ourselves and looking at someone else and trying to attune to that rather than attuning from within first. Because it can't change internally if we're trying to draw someone else's energy into our field. One, it creates this constant underlying frequency of shame, of I'm not enough. So I have to try to mimic what this other person is doing because I'm not enough, which creates separation from your own wisdom, separation from self, separation from source. So this process of self-consuming over and over and over again, coming back to your breath and just feeling the breath come into your body over and over again, that's bringing energy back home. Every time you take a nice, slow, deep breath, you're breaking this cycle of codependency on outside information, and you're telling yourself, hey, I'm safe. That is a literal chemical reaction that happens when you take a deep breath. Maybe even put your hand on your chest. It's signaling to your nervous system that you're safe because you have time to take a long, deep breath. And then you pull that breath from your abdomen up because you want to create a flow state from your root all the way up to your crown, but you want it to start at your root and work its way up. Because eventually, when we reach the 8th dimension, we're just going to be a sphere of light. When you get to the 6th dimension and beyond, there aren't chakras anymore. It's one sphere of light. And the only way that we can really ascend there is if we continue to let go of these codependent structures that we have implanted in ourselves that were not enough, by looking and trying to attune to something that's outside of ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah, I really love that. And you already answered the question that I had, because when we are in the chaos, because it feels very real, especially when we are used to that. It's the normal thing for us. And also, even if we receive guidance that's everything is okay, we don't give it much importance because we are not yet used to that other side of of the experience. But like I mentioned, is, as we say, it's more about the practice and having something that will interrupt that identification with the chaos. Like you said, saying ourselves, I am safe. And in that moment, it can really help us to really see what's going on. We understand it's challenging emotionally or mentally, but we are understanding we are not the experience we are having. It's just part of maybe processing the traumas or wounds that we have.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I use my kids as examples a lot because they're so just human and real. And I'm thinking of my middle son plays baseball, the sport where you hit a ball with a bat. And he's always been an amazing power hitter on his team. Well, this spring season, it all fell apart and he wasn't able to hit a damn thing. And he was so frustrated. But what I was like coming back to over and over again is this is happening for me. I was like telling him to have this mantra, this is happening for me. And maybe everything's falling apart. Maybe everything's getting rearranged, but it's happening for me. And then he would do some deep breaths and come back to a place of, okay, I trust the process. I trust myself. And sure enough, a month later, it's all fallen back into place. And now he's doing amazing at the plate again, probably hitting it harder than he's ever hit it in his life. But it took a breakdown of the structure that he had put in place. He needed to change perspective, right? He needed to shift his energy to be able to step into a new way of being an athlete in that sport. So that's just a very small way, but every day we are going through these little states of chaos, and they only last as long as we resist them, and they only get as big as we make them. But pain is so real to our bodies and to our minds because it wraps so tightly around the body, and it consumes our thoughts, and it consumes the way that we feel. It consumes the way that we move ourselves. Because we start to move a little bit more restricted, our shoulders start to get higher, everything starts to contract and it shrinks down, and you literally collapse into yourself. And the tighter you collapse, the more matter you become, the more dense and the more matter that you become, the less real energy healing feels. The less you feel like a spirit, and the more you feel like this dense human. So we have to come home to the breath. We have to come home to the breath. And if something starts to fall apart just a little bit, okay, this is happening for me. I'm going to breathe. I'm going to come back home to myself. I'm going to trust the process. And you don't even have to understand why something is happening for you. You don't have to understand why something feels like chaos in the moment. You just have to trust it. You have to trust yourself. That's the only way to change perspective. That's the only way then to expand your body back out, to make the pain small and the wisdom big. So the smaller we make the pain, and again, when it's wrapped so tightly and you collapse in on yourself, your energy field actually like shrinks up. And then what your guides are trying to help you with, what your own highest self is trying to help you get through and expand, can't even really penetrate a dense, dense body. So then something catastrophic sometimes happens because we have not allowed the light that's trying to get in, literally can't get in. So we have to begin to really take ownership of, okay, there's chaos happening in my environment. There's chaos happening to me, but is it happening to you or is it happening for you? A simple word shift like that can bring so much more energy into the body. So I just want you all to think of anything that has happened that has caused some chaos, any kind of chaos. I want you to feel the energy difference. Say, if you say, okay, this is happening to me, notice how you immediately go into victim mode and you start to shrink rather than be like, no, this happened for me. This is happening for me. When you say this is happening for me, I can feel your hearts beginning to open a little bit more, and the light is beginning to come in a little bit more. And sometimes it's just that little bit of light. If we can just crack the door a little bit and allow a little bit more light in, then it's going to break the chemical cycle within your body that's addicted to the pain and the toxins and the chemicals released from all that. It gives it that tiny little wedge, that tiny little door to stand still, to stop the codependency with pain, to come back home, to open the heart and expand the heart out. Just imagine like the sun coming in. Feel this beautiful bright sunlight coming in through the heart. And I guess we're just going to start the process right now. So feel like this, imagine this beautiful bright sun coming into your heart. This is happening for me. I can't believe the universe conspired to help me, to do this for me. Now feel that sunlight starting to shine into every cell, every corner of your body, shining into your brain, soothing your brain, shining into your spine. Filling up your shoulders, your arms, your elbows, your wrists, your hands, your fingertips. The sun is coming into your abdomen and into your hips. Really allow it to fill in the base of your spine and in your hip sockets, filling in your womb, the root, beginning to flow down. The sun is coming down into your thighs and into your knees and into your calves, into the soles of your feet and shining through your toes. Now, if you can imagine looking at your skin with your eyes closed as the sun is shining through it, it can look like brilliant diamonds twinkling. And so you can begin to see or imagine or just play with the idea, the concept that this human suit is Christ consciousness in particle form. This is a galactic historical novel that you're wearing. All the wisdom of the universe and beyond is right here. Just breathe and feel yourself beginning to expand. Now, as you expand past the room you're in, and let your sun shine past the room you're in, let your sun shine past the building you're in, let your sun shine through you past the country you're in, and allow the sunshine to shine through you past the earth, past the moon, past the Milky Way galaxy. Now, when you turn around and you look from this perspective, you're way out in the stars. Just play pretend like you're floating out in the stars and you're looking back at the little you that's sitting in the chair or laying on the bed or sitting on the couch. And the chaos that seems to be in your life at the moment or in the past, I want you to see how small that really is. Now look ahead on the timeline and look how smooth and expansive that chaotic turns into the river that's flowing steady and strong and clear. And now we start to drum up feelings of gratitude. I can't believe that I am so loved, that my body is so brilliant, that my soul is so wise, that they were able to orchestrate all of this in my favor, and that everything is happening for me. That money and friends and love and health is happening for me. That I always happen to be in the right place at the right time. I always have the right resources available. That all of this is happening for me. And every time I choose to know with my whole being that this is happening for me, the ripple effect that I have on the universe is harmonic. It's beautiful. And I'm triggering others to remember too that this all is happening for them. And that all the people I hold grievances against, we are actually one and the same. Exploring how, in all the different ways, that we can create a universe that's working for us. For the expansion of all that is. Now, as you breathe into that, just how does your body feel? And maybe the only thing that you can say over and over again is, this is happening for me. I can't believe that I am so loved, that I am so blessed, that I am so wise, that I orchestrated all of this to happen for me. So when you're ready, you can start to come back and open your eyes. And let me know how you feel.
Yeah, that was very beautiful. It was a sense of stillness and trust in the end, and also some, I don't know if it's the right word, like emotional detachment from the experience. But still, there is no separation with the physical experience we are having. So that's yeah, really loved it. And also, everyone we would love to hear your feedback. You can type it on the chat boxes on Zoom and also on YouTube. And yeah, Leila, she felt some sadness at the end.
And that's
So
okay.
yeah,
Just breathe through it. And if sadness is what comes up, whatever emotion comes up, don't judge it. Just continue to breathe, because again, there's light on the other side of the sadness, right? There's expansion on the other side of the sadness. You've finally given your body permission to let go. So that's a gift. Congratulate yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I really love the call today and what you shared. So before that, Elizabeth, she wrote, I felt expansive when I said I orchestrated this for me.
Yes.
Yeah, because
You
go ahead.
can feel your energy come back home when you say that. It's such a simple phrase that we take for granted. But it's these simple phrases that we can remember the easiest, right? So we don't need to complicate something with these long, drawn out, super deep mantras. No, this is happening for me. Somebody cuts me off in line. Okay, I don't know why, but this is happening for me. Thank you. And that's the beauty of letting go of needing to know why. We don't have to know the whys of everything now. Eventually we will, but in this moment, we don't have to know. I just know when I trust with my whole being that this is happening for me.
Yeah, beautiful. And Michelle, she wrote, I could feel expansion with the breath and greater openness. Also, some areas of the physical body which would appreciate more breath. Thank you. Beautiful meditation process and guiding to greater trusts.
So every time we breathe that, and we trust the breath, we slow the breath down, it literally helps allow all the light that's in your field that hasn't been able to actually penetrate and come in. It gives it space to come in. You're creating more space between all the particles of light that you are. So if we can, the more space that we create, the more light that we can bring in. That shifts our vibration to a different dimensional field. When we do that, we're starting to, the more often we breathe and we do that, that is how we can consciously begin to penetrate the subconscious programming to uncover our true foundational frequencies, our true brilliance, to work on our blueprints, to change our blueprints. So if we want to shift the subconscious minds of the body, and there's 7 of them, well, usually more, but like in the root, you have your inferior mesenteric nerve plexus, then your superior, then your celiac nerve plexus, and your solar plexus. In your heart, you have your cardiac nerve plexus. In your throat, you have the thyroid nerve plexus, so on and so forth. So then when we do that, each of these nerve plexuses acts like a brain. Anytime there's frequency running through a collection of neurons, it creates a brain, it creates consciousness. That consciousness is continually speaking to the energy field that connects everything. So we're not just changing the subconscious mind up here. We actually need to start with changing the subconscious mind of the root chakra. And we can do that through self-consumption. Every time we breathe and we collect our own energy and we come back home and we breathe that up, the frequency that we begin running through that inferior mesenteric nerve plexus is I trust myself. That's an entirely different chemical process that you're going to start releasing to your sex glands, to the womb, right? And then that gets consumed and that vibration gets brought up to the sacral. And the sacral starts saying, oh, I trust myself. So that's an entirely different set of chemicals that gets released to all the organs that it governs, and so on and so forth. So this is how we come into a space of flow and alignment through this self-consumption. And that's how we begin to change and shift the foundational frequencies of each of these brains to create coherence. It's the highest state of coherence that we can come into is when everything is self-feeding, you're consuming your own energy, because again, everything is within you, and we hear that all the freaking time, but how do we access it? What does that even really mean, right? So everything that you've ever wanted to know is right there in your cells. It's right there in the particles of energy that you are comprised of. And the beautiful gift of it is that it's all unique to you. So because you contain a certain set of source energy codes, when you created yourself, when you created your own soul, and you created your I, you have a certain set of energy codes that only you carry. No one else, no other soul carries what you carry. And when the matter that you are comes in contact with that, it's brilliant. It's a brilliant way that we were designed, because then everything that gets brought through you, that sun, as it's radiating through your skin like we did today, and it's out into the universe and beyond. No one has your shades of light. No one is radiating the frequencies the way that you are, because of the wisdom that you hold from the life experiences that you've allowed yourself to move through and integrate, and the source energy codes that you have. So that's why what we're really seeking, we cannot seek and find when we're looking outside of ourselves. Everyone on this call is just as brilliant, is just as talented, is just as gifted of a healer, of a psychic, of a medium, of a galactic being of light. Whatever you want to be, you have it right now in only the way that you can carry and have it.
Yeah, that was inspiring. Thank you. Thank you very much, Erica.
A little passionate about that. I just want
Yes,
everyone to
I
feel
can
that
feel that.
themselves.
Beautiful. Um, yeah, and Gloria shared, I felt blessed and with the power to heal myself. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And Dima, that we are all one really flips the sadness that came up. Thanks. The sun was a lovely companion in this meditation. And Elizabeth, I don't actually take other people's wisdom into me. I feel my wisdom awaken to what resonates to me, and then I continue to expand from myself. I've resonated a lot from all of your wisdom you so generously share.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of you on the call have been in some of my classes. And when I am teaching a class, like the classes that are in the package, or we'll talk about activations, they're a little bit different here in a minute, but I speak out loud what I'm doing while I'm doing it. And that way you can talk yourself through it at the same time. When you're talking through your own experience at the same time, it empowers you to know that you're doing the work as I'm doing it. It's just coming through you a little bit differently. And oftentimes when I teach these classes, people will share their experiences, and they're all just a little bit different, but with the same amount of power. So for me, if I'm going to share a healing class, I'm going to give you a little peek behind the curtain and talk about what I'm doing while I'm doing it, so that you walk through and you begin to understand that, oh, I can do this too. I understand. It helps integrate, because it helps the mind relax into, oh, this is actually pretty simple. I'm just going to drop into myself. It's actually not that hard. I can do this. I'm going to do it a little bit my way. Everyone has a unique take on it, but it's empowering to come home to self, that you don't need anyone outside of you. Sometimes it's helpful to work with someone and just to help lift you while you're coming home to your own body and doing the healing work yourself. But ultimately, we all have the same strengths. When I do an activation, it's a little different. So I think there's 2, 4, 5, maybe 5 activations. I don't remember, or 7 activations, something like that in the package. When I record an activation, it's a little bit different. We always start with the breath. And again, I'm talking out loud, everything that we're doing, but I bring you into a trance-like state. When you come into that trance-like state, what we're doing is slowing down your brainwave state. It's like you're hypnotizing yourself a little bit so that we can reach that limbic system, which holds your subconscious mind, so that we can start, so that you begin to reprogram yourself. It's a reprogramming process that we do in a million different ways. Each activation is quite a bit different, but it's a self-guided trance state. As I'm speaking to you out loud, I'm channeling all of it. So it takes you down to a slower brainwave state so that you can reprogram your foundation.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you so much, Erica. And also Rieta on YouTube, she wrote inspiring call. Thank you. And we will take questions in a little bit. Just before that, if you would like to share maybe more about specifically about the program you are offering today. So like you mentioned, there are the activations, which are part of the body regeneration program. And in addition to that, we have the 20 minutes one-on-one private session with you. And I invite everyone to visit the page yourdivineuniqueness.com/Erica, yourdivineuniqueness.com/Erica, ERICA. Or you can click on the special offer button, which is on the live events page, later on the replay page. The link also on YouTube video description and the chat boxes on Zoom and on YouTube. So, Erica, would you like to share more about that?
I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory.
Yes.
It's about self-consumption, coming home to the body, trusting yourself, and learning how to regenerate. You learn how to to work with your own blueprints. That is the last class that you, or maybe no, that's the first lesson that you'll come into. And it's a class where we work on tuning into the blueprints and seeing where the distortions are in the blueprints and learning how to reweave your blueprint to take out the distortions. And the regenerative, the two classes there's just a lot within them. I would read the descriptions and feel into whether that resonates with you a lot or not. But again, we're working with the body consciousness and we're building bridges of trust to play, allowing the body consciousness to know that it is its own healer and we give it permission to do so. So your body has a voice, it's part of your soul, and we can give your body, your mind, your ego different directives of, okay, I need you to heal in this way, or I need you just to take, when this comes into my field, this is what I want you to do with it. So giving them permission to work on behalf of your soul, because it is part of your soul. So there's a question here that I really want to answer. Would I understand consumption by breathing my own body parts? As I breathe and circulate, I seem to expand outward into infinity. That is what happens when you breathe into yourself. So it's, you can imagine if there's a particular body part that is causing a little bit of chaos, you can particularly put your intention on it and breathe into it. But ultimately, it's the more that you self-consume by imagining that breath coming into the root, up through the chakra system, out the top of your head, and then coming back down all around you in a toroidal fashion, you are going to expand out into infinity because you're lighting your body up. You are becoming more light than matter. You are expanding into a different dimensional realm where the programs from the past aren't attached to you anymore. So the more you self-consume, the more you change your internal chemical state, the more you detach from the old subconscious programmings and distortions that are causing constriction, and the more you step into, I am an infinite creator with infinite possibilities, and I'm expansive. So,
yeah, beautiful. Thank you, Erica, and thank you, Mer, for your question. So, can we take more questions from our audience? Yeah. So let's see. Mer shares, thank you. Leila, can you please unmute yourself?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Okay, so recently it's not a belief, but well, maybe it's a belief. A belief has come to light of what I'm doing. So how would you, through self-consumption, address that? Or do you just not even address it and you just do the breath and then that clears? Or do you actually work with specific things that do come into consciousness? How does this way of operating work?
I don't ignore anything. I use it as an opportunity to learn, to expand and shift my perspective. I can see where the energy is trapped in you, and it's between the solar plexus and the sacral, kind of off to, I'm feeling it on my right, but since I'm looking at you, it might be here a little bit to your left. So you can breathe into that particular area. You can go over to the belief system and you can say, is this actually true? Or is there another perspective that I have not seen yet? And the answer is going to be, obviously there's another perspective that you have not worked through yet. So if you breathe into it and you begin to expand out and expand out and expand out through consumption, through detaching from the old belief system, that's going to give you the ability to expand out and make that belief really small. And when you see how small it is, you realize that it really has no control over your life, that it's such a small aspect of energy that's in your field. You're like, oh, well, I can see the other side of this. I can shift my perspective on this. What if I shifted it from being in this place of lack to something that's as expansive? What if I thought, oh, this is happening for me, and I can shift through that and be like, ooh, that just made me slow down a little bit, so that it gave me time to see the wisdom that's on the other side of this, and that it's actually working out in my favor, that I can actually begin to see now how things are coming to me and working out in my favor. And instead of contracting me, I'm actually beginning to expand and feeling a lot better. And I know that that truth that I thought was true was never really true. It's such a small little packed inner particles of energy that I'm just blowing up, and I'm able to see the other perspective now, and now feel how big my energy is. It's so much bigger than it was before. And so we just keep breathing and we just keep expanding, and you just keep talking to yourself through it of, oh, there's a different perspective that I have here. What do I need to shift and change so that I can continue to see what's on the other side of this? And maybe you don't know right away, but I can shift and change. And how can I rearrange the story so that it does work out in my favor? Because I know for a fact that the universe is always working out for me, right? Everything is always happening for me. What a freaking gift this is. Cool. Okay, so I'm going to breathe into it. I'm going to choose to bring all my energy back home, and this is happening for me. Now, can you feel the energy beginning to flow a little bit more between your sacral and your solar plexus? Take a breath in. It was really
I just feel like even like more kind of giggly.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's fun. It's fun and it's exciting because we realize this whole experience here, we're just playing, we're just experimenting. Some experiments go terribly wrong. But again, we're learning from them. It's just we need to rearrange, change our perspective of it. And this is happening for me. And so it's like your inner child right now, your little girl, I don't know, she's like around 12, is like really excited because, oh my God, all the things that I thought that sucked are actually happening for me. And I get to play and I get to change my perspective and I can change my story. And I have so much more power now than I did before. So just let yourself play with these new stories over and over again.
Yeah, and I can even feel like the word freedom came in.
Yes. It's
That's
free. Yes.
yeah. Thank
Thank you.
you. Thanks, Montse.
Thank you, Leila. Much love. Yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much, Erica. And let's see, Miriam, can you please unmute yourself?
Yes, hello.
Hello.
I loved what you just shared, and I was practicing doing it, even though I didn't know where my particular challenging area might be, but just doing it while you were talking. And it did bring a smile to my face. I felt lighter. But I know I've had a lot of health challenges and life relationship challenges come up recently, and my spirit is big. I feel that. I love expanding out, and I also want, as you're saying, to feel the light, the expansion, the the quantum spaciousness that's in the first, second, and third chakras, and how I can bring all that together. So do you have any insights for me at this time?
Yeah, it's your solar plexus. So I would invite my ego in again, just like your body is part of your soul, so is your ego, and the ego is in charge of your willpower. The moment we decided to create ourselves as soul, our ego was developed. You know, that was our I, our individualism, those pure source energy codes that only you are. There's a lot of different perspectives on ego, but let's change our perspective to something that's much broader and more expansive and more inclusive. And that's when your willpower comes in of this is happening for me. And now I can feel your solar plexus coming in. So take a breath. And the ego begins to get excited as it knows its role and that it gets to play in this quantum field too. It gets to play in quantum particles of energy, of undefined energy. And instead of being scared of it, it can see it as an opportunity to explore itself more fully. Take another breath. And now feel that willpower to move forward, knowing that all of this is happening for me. So if all of this is happening for me, the next step that I could take and the next step after that and the next step after that, it's not so scary. It actually becomes an exciting game. An exciting exploration, a play.
So there's nothing else in terms of working with our ego that allows it to flourish as part of the team other than what you were just suggesting there? Is that, or at least in my case, is that the best practice?
I have a whole other course for you. If you want, I can send you information afterwards. But the ego, you talk to it like it's a part of it has a voice. It's like your body consciousness. Your body consciousness has a voice. Your ego has a voice of consciousness, and you can ask it to come forward. A lot of times when we start working with our ego, they're very standoffish and kind of, sometimes they can be a little moody and a little pissed off, honestly, because we haven't always treated them the best, or we've asked our egos to like be quiet and non-existent when it's such an integral, I mean, it's what gave us us. So instead invite it in, and you can create a bridge of trust with it. We want to be able to trust it. And we want it to know that we trust it and it can trust us, and that we're not going to ignore it anymore. And that we can begin to unmesh it from the mind. A lot of the ego development and the stickiness that we can feel in our ego is because it got enmeshed and ingrained with the subconscious mind was when the mind was developing. And the ego then began to take the subconscious mind belief systems on as true for it, when they were never true for it in the first place. It just didn't know how to operate differently. So you can give it that freedom now by inviting it into your heart space. How does that feel?
Well, two things came up. One, it makes me want to know from you, and I missed some at the beginning of this, how you see ego, because I kept being shown that it was somewhere between like the subconscious inner child type things that weren't as evolved and or mental. It sounds like you have a different perspective of what ego is. So that's one thing. And the other is, how do I allow that innate, in that sense, like human aspect of intelligence, to be able to flourish in an environment where there's lots of people that are not comfortable, more like almost narcissistic type control? How do I open that up, besides when I'm just by myself in that kind of environment?
You just observe their behavior and you don't play in it. You come back home to self. Your self-expression isn't dependent upon anyone else or what they're doing or what they're saying. So you come home to self and self-consume over and over and over again. That brings your power back to you. It's not something that is meant to be shared with everyone. Everyone's allowed to go on their own journey and be in their own space and have their own opinions. I'm around a lot of that all the time for all the kids at sporting events that I have to go to. But I can sit there quietly and I can truly enjoy and find this magical frequency of joy and of play when other people around me are suffering because they're stuck in a low vibrational point of and perspective. So it's you come home to you over and over and over again to break the chains of codependency from your environment. So you self-consume, you bring your energy home over and over and over again to build trust with your body. That your body isn't dependent upon any other person, place, or thing, and how you feel and how you regenerate and your power and how you voice yourself.
So you can feel like you're in your own container of well-being, no matter what's going on around you and what you feel is okay to share. Is that what I'm understanding?
It is, and I can still have fun conversations with them. I just am living my best life right here in my own energy field, regardless of what's going on around me. And if they want to join me and have fun, they can. And if they don't, that's cool. I'll just talk to them about other things. It doesn't really matter.
Is there any, well, plus there's times it's like being in a certain zone where you're kind of meeting people where they're at, but also somehow helping shift the atmosphere, the energy. I don't know how you look at that, but I have seen when that can occur, which is magical. Awesome.
Absolutely.
So is there more information earlier in the call where you discussed exactly how you see ego, what that comprises?
Oh, but Monsef has other shows where we've talked about that quite a bit that I'm sure he can get you.
Yeah, you can check the video history on YouTube. You will find them there. And
Awesome.
also
Thank
we
you
need to
guys
take
so
questions
much.
from others as well. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Miriam. And also thank you very much, Erica. And when you mentioned like we are not meant to take others with us in our experience, that's really resonated because we built in like a habit to try to make others have the same experience as us, or try to convince them to follow the same path. Otherwise, we feel like maybe they are lost or something. But that was very, yeah, that statement was very powerful. So
Yeah,
thank
you know what's fun is that we're not here to save anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
It's here to explore ourselves and break cycles of codependency and come back home so that we know our own brilliance. So we're not responsible for anyone else. And that might sound really selfish, but we do need to be selfish, because how else can we create ripples of change other than being selfish and coming back home and consuming our own energy and exploring the truth of who we are and shining out our brilliance and our wisdom? That's the greatest effect that we'll ever have on the universe, on the galaxies, beyond, 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 is coming back home and being selfish and focusing on this journey of self-exploration and becoming the greatest version in every now moment of who that is.
Yeah, absolutely. Beautiful. So we have Mare. Can you please unmute yourself?
Let me turn my video on. Hi, Erica. Monsef, thank you.
Hi.
Let me just, I want to see Erica when I'm talking to her. What is the difference when I am breathing my body and whatever? I'm so accustomed to grounding to the diamond core heart of the Mother Earth, and that energy comes up. I do both, and I also breathe my body parts. Could you comment on that? What would be the difference? Is there?
Hold on. She's bringing up a lot of energy right now. So everyone can breathe. Mother Earth is bringing this energy in. Remember that we are all a part of the matrix. So I taught this class one time, and you know what, Monsef, I think I'm going to add this class to the package because the story feels really relevant. A few of you on this call were in the class. We walked into the Garden of Eden and we saw the tree with the apple on it. We sat down underneath the tree, and we allowed our bodies to die and disintegrate into the earth. And as they disintegrated into the earth, they absorbed into the roots of the tree, and we became part of the tree as it was growing. And then we went out onto the branches of the tree, and we became the flowers that were blooming on the branches, and we became the fruit that hung from the flowers. And within that fruit were seeds. And then we looked down from the branches on the ground, and we were actually still sitting there. And then we reached up and we picked the fruit that was us, and we started to eat the fruit. We are all of these things. There is no separation between the earth and between you. You are the earth. So if you want to breathe through the earth, by all means, breathe through the earth. But understanding that you're breathing and coming home to yourself, and that you're disconnecting from the false fields of energy of disillusion and restriction and constriction that don't serve you. So we come home over and over and over again. But when we connect with the earth in that way, we are remembering that she actually created us, created our bodies. We are 95% microbacteria and parasites and viruses, even our DNA, and that came from the earth. So we are consuming ourselves when we are connecting in with the earth and becoming one with her and breathing her essence through us. It is still self-consumption. So however it feels the most powerful and right for you, go ahead and do it, because you know your wisdom greater than anyone.
I love that. I love that. It means so much to me right now. I have, Erica, please, one more question. On the internet, on YouTubes, there are many sort of new YouTubes, new to me, where they are like meditative mind, et cetera, they're playing certain frequencies to regenerate your body or a certain part of your body. It could be 432 frequency, it could be 1111. Are you aware of those? What do you feel about those?
I feel that everyone's so uniquely different. So I don't know that I could generalize. I do know the different frequencies. I'm very aware of it, but I also know that everyone's body, because of our individuality and our own source energy codes, I don't know that I could do a blanket, listen to 437 for XYZ, because we all need something different. Everyone's body is craving something different. So for me, when I teach a class or in the activations, it's about bringing in the essence that's the highest and best for you individually.
Okay.
So you just have to really pay attention and tune into what is the highest and best for you.
I thank you so much. Thank
You're
you,
welcome.
Mons.
Thank you, Mansula. Beautiful. Thank you, Erica. And maybe one more question from Sue on the phone. Can you please unmute yourself? Yes.
Hello, Monisette.
Hello.
Hi, Monisette. It's Sue. Hello, Erica. Thank you very much for taking my question. Okay, Erica, somehow I think Spirit has allowed me to be here today to talk to you. My gifts have greatly enhanced. My problem is with my physical eyesight in this earth plane now. Apparently, I've seen Metatron's cube with all the pictures, all the coding and everything. Mostly my eyesight seems to have changed almost into another dimension compared to the physical plane down here. But how do I stay in this physical plane that we're in now so that I can function on the earth, in the body I'm in now? They keep taking me to like another dimension. And it's like, I got to stay here. I'm living here. And it has affected me in like psychologically, physically. Like the central vision, it's like it's distorted. It's like it's not seen like you would be seen. Can you scan me and see why this is happening at this time?
I feel like we're actually going to need to dive into this in a private session.
Okay.
Metatron is one of my master guides as well. So he is wonderful and he's incredibly powerful. You're not
Yes.
quite grounded all the way into your body. There's a few different things that we're going to have to do. When you came into your body, you came in a little bit sideways. And so you've never really fully grounded into your root, which is why it's easier for you to be in the spirit realm rather than the physical realm. So you're tilted in there, and that's actually something I'm very familiar with because a lot of people with differences, if you've never met me before, the whole reason why I'm here is because my oldest son was born with Down syndrome, and we later realized was on the autism spectrum, and he took me through a whole process of integrating the spirit into the body. And that's changed my perspective of the ego, the mind, the body consciousness. So yours is not in correctly.
Okay.
I don't know that it ever really fully was. There was kind of like a fissure when you came in because of the spectrum of light that you carry. So that would need to be addressed in a session.
Oh, okay. So, but I mean, if it's addressed, is there a chance like the physical vision quote on this plane could come back the way it was? Because this only started happening when the energies went wild on the planet about 2-3 years ago.
To me, I feel like they could, but I'm never going to say for absolutely sure for anyone. But I can see the vision now. For me, I would say yes. But again, everyone and how they incorporate and integrate a healing is completely up to them.
What can I do in the meantime, though, to like help myself right now until I could get a session?
Self-consume.
Just do the consuming. Okay.
Because it's going to help pull you back down.
Okay. Okay.
And I have a million different videos on the internet, on YouTube too. That might help.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
You,
I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a great day.
Yeah, sure. Much love. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Erica. And yeah, thank you for the support you gave to our callers, for everything you shared today. Yeah, as always, today's call was really powerful. Loved every part you shared today. So thank you for the inspiration. Thank you for that process also you did. And yeah, so thank you.
You're so welcome. Thank you everyone for coming and playing and being willing to shift perspective and see things differently, and just go out and play. Let's not take this too seriously. Let's just play and relax and realize we're going to fall down on our faces sometimes. And we just have to get back up and say, this is happening for me. I may not know why, but I'm going to choose to understand this is happening for me. And I'm going to breathe. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Michelle, Charlotte, thank you. Dima, thank you, Erica and Monsef. And yeah, so thank you, everyone. We're grateful to you for being here today, whether live or on the replay. And thank you for those who asked their questions. And yeah, again, you can sign up for one of the 2 packages that Erica is offering to us on the link yourdivineuniqueness.com/Erica, yourdivineuniqueness.com/Erica, ERICA. Or you can click on the special offer button, which is on the live events page, later on the replay page. The link also on YouTube video description and the chat boxes on Zoom and YouTube. And the first package includes the regeneration, body regeneration program, and package B includes A plus 20 minutes one-on-one private session with Erica. And yeah, so and that's, I'm sending you so much love, and I will see you on the next call. Bye-bye, everyone.